What is going on? Welcome back to CT Dingo. Today we are going to be doing a review and kind of looking over my 2021 NRL ladder predictions. We're not going to go through the finals because obviously they haven't happened yet. They are coming up this week. Let me know down below also if your team is in the finals, and if you are, looking forward to it. We have some good games. But yes, we're going to be looking back at those, going to be seeing how well I did. Now I've got a little point system that I did last year when I reviewed my 2019 predictions. So basically, 2 points if I get it spot on, 1 point if I am one off. So let's see how many points I got in my ladder prediction, and let's see how well I did overall. So we start off at 16th position, and obviously it's the Bulldogs. They didn't have a great season, but I did actually put them at 16th in my original predictions. So yeah, that's a pretty good one. I don't know how many people actually said the Bulldogs would come last. I don't even know what I was thinking when I did that, but look, I'll take it. I don't know. I had one comment telling me that it was a dumb decision to put the Bulldogs in last, but turns out it was spot on. And they finished the season with 3 wins. Finished quite well though, beating the Tigers by 38 points, which was ridiculous. Kept them to 0-2, so well done to the Bulldogs on that final win. But yeah, not the greatest season, although they are building for next season. So look, last place, but I'll take the 2 points on that one. We move on to 15th position, and that went to the North Queensland Cowboys. Another one that I did predict spot on, so that is another 2 points here. So we're starting off pretty well. The first two, 16th and 15th, both correct. The Cowboys finished with 7 wins and 17 losses. They actually did quite well. They were 6-6 at one point this season, and then they went 10 straight losses, which kind of just messed everything up for them. But when they were 6-6, they were sitting in 7th position, and I was not confident on this prediction. But yeah, they ended up falling a bit behind and then getting down to 15th. So that prediction is correct. Something I don't think was too expected, but also, I guess expected at the same time. It was an interesting one, but yeah, cool to get the first 2 spot on. Now on to 14th position. We continue the perfect run so far. Again, the Broncos, I had them in 14th on my ladder prediction, and they did finish in 14th. Not the greatest season for the Broncos. However, I would argue it's better than last year, no doubt. They actually did quite well, like late-ish in the season. They picked up a couple of wins. They got a win over the Cowboys, win over the Sharks in round 16, I think it was, and a win against the Knights in the final round as well. So they didn't do too bad. The Broncos, I think they're building definitely on something good next season. I did upload a video talking about the Broncos in the future, so I'll link that in the description. Go check that out if you would like. But yeah, Broncos finished 14th. Not much to say about this one. It was a bit expected, but an improvement from last place from last year. The perfect run comes to an end with the West Tigers finishing in 13th spot on the ladder in real life. I had them at 12th, so we do get a 1 point bonus for that one. So I'll take the 1 point. Look, a lot of people had them finishing last, actually. I had a few people telling me that they would finish last, and a lot of people had them in last. I don't know, I didn't really think they'd get last. They didn't have the greatest season, but that 13 to, I guess, 10 spot was kind of expected from the Tigers this season. I didn't really expect them to do too well. Just a pretty much an average season, as they usually do, but not 9th, unfortunately. Would have been nice to keep up that trend for the Tigers, but 12th spot, 13th spot, we'll take the 1 point on that one. We move on to the Warriors. Now, I had them finishing in 9th. They were kind of on the hype train with the Gold Coast Titans. Didn't really live up to their expectations as much as a lot of people were saying, unfortunately, so we don't get any points for this one. They did end up in 12th on the ladder with 8 wins, 16 losses now. Yeah, I think I fell into the hype of the Warriors along with the Gold Coast Titans this season. They weren't able to perform. They lost a lot of those close games, which was a bit heartbreaking if you are a Warriors fan. But if they can finish off the job a lot of the time, they had, if you go on the NRL app, you can put on a filter on the NRL ladder that shows you how many close games a team had. And the Warriors were definitely double digits in that category. It was bizarre. They were way ahead of every other team. So, yeah, a lot of close games. Only one 13-plus win the whole season, and that was by 13 back in round 1 against the Gold Coast Titans, who smoked them back in, not back in, but in round 25. So, yeah, the Warriors, not the greatest of seasons, but hopefully they can build on something in the future. Now moving on into 11th, we have the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now I put them in 13th, underestimated them a little bit. They started the season very strong. I think they were 4 wins, 1 losses at one point. But the classic Dragons falling off late, starting pretty strong. Look, I know they were in the top 4 pretty comfortably, and that win against the Eels was kind of a strong point, but I don't know. People were telling me that they'd make the 8, even after that. I wasn't too convinced that they would. But yeah, the Dragons, I don't know. I didn't really expect much from them this year. They did alright at the start. Didn't fall off as much as sometimes they do, but 11th spot, it's kind of the classic Dragons spot. Not really close to the 8, but not that low. So yeah, it was kind of a 13 to 10 position. I had them in 13th, so we don't get a point for that. We were 2 off, very close. But yeah, a bit unlucky on that one, but fortunately we don't get any points. Now we move on to the Raiders. I had them in 4th. This is actually not our worst prediction. There is one that is worse than this, but gosh, they definitely underperformed this season, the Raiders. I had them in 4th, like most people had them in the top 4, and most people had them doing pretty well now. I don't think putting the Raiders in the grand final, which I did have in my predictions, was the greatest idea. It was probably not the smartest move, putting the Raiders in the grand final. I think I got a little bit too excited on the Raiders this season. They definitely underperformed, finishing 10th. So not the greatest of seasons for the Raiders. I guess that could come down to Charles Nickel-Klokstad's injury, but look, who knows? The Raiders can improve, but they had a lot of disruptions this season. So, yeah, unfortunately no points. We're 6 off on that one, but yeah, we're in a bit of a dry patch with points at the moment. Now we round off the bottom 8 with the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. I had them finishing in 10th, so we finally break the drought. We get a point here for the Sharks. Now, look, I was 1 off on this one. The Sharks, a bit unlucky with the Titans winning at the end of the season. They were very, very close to making the 8, but Titans too good in the end, and they just snuck in. There was a very close battle between the Titans, Sharks, and Raiders, but I don't know. The Sharks, they had an okay season. They weren't like too bad at all, but yeah, I don't know. It was kind of expected for the Sharks to just miss out, but they had an okay season for the most part. So yeah, we'll take the point on that one. Now moving into the top 8, we have the Gold Coast Titans. I had them finishing in 7th. They ended up finishing in 8th. Now the Titans were extremely hyped up this season. I would still say overhyped, even though they made the top 8. I don't know, a lot of people were hyping them up. I think most people had them in the, 9th to 7th kind of position. It was a bit of a confusing one, but yeah, out of the 3 teams, they got the best, and they just snuck into the 8 at the end, but we do get a point for that one, being 1 off. Titans, I mean, I don't think they'll do very well in finals, but who knows? Maybe they could step it up, although I highly doubt it. I think they're just to fill a spot in the finals. Next up, we have the Newcastle Knights, who finished in 7th on the actual ladder, and I had them in 8th. So if we swap the Knights and the Titans around, we would have been spot on for both of those there. But yeah, a bit unlucky to get that one just off, or those 2 just off. But the Knights, they locked in the top 8 pretty well. Like, they were in the race with the other 3 teams, but locked it in a lot earlier than those 2 teams. But the Knights, look, I don't know how they got into the 8. Again, I think they're another filler team, but yeah, expected position for the Knights really this season, so we'll take the 1 point. We move on to the top 6, and it starts off with the Parramatta Eels, who finished in 6th on the actual ladder, and I put them in 6th on my prediction, so we do get 2 points for that one. I think the Eels were kind of expected to drop this season, and they did. They actually started quite well, but really fell off late. They had a huge form slump. It was quite fascinating to watch, really, the Eels. But look, they beat the Storm. They found a little bit of life in, round 23, 24, but then Penrith kind of shut them off. Round 25, it'll be interesting to see how they go in the finals. I think they'll beat the Knights, as a little sneak peek for my tips, but yeah, I don't know. It's not the greatest for the Eels, but what can you do? I think 6 is kind of the expected position, and a lot of people had them in 6th, so we'll take the 2 points on that one. A free, nice little 2 points there. We move on to 5th position, 1 spot out of the top 4. It is the Roosters, and I got this one correct, so we get another 2 points. So we're doing quite well, actually, overall in our predictions. The Roosters, again, I kind of expected them to drop, but not like a huge amount. I didn't really expect the injuries that they get. I thought they would just drop naturally, not really any injury kind of things. I just thought other teams would be better than them this season, but the injuries played a huge part, although they did well, in my opinion, to stay in the top 8 and quite comfortably, in fact, contending for the top 4. So the Roosters, I will give them like an A or A- on their season, because they got through those injuries and stayed pretty strong. So yeah, well done to the Roosters overall, but we take the 2 points on that one and we move on to the top 4. We move on to the top 4 and the worst prediction on this list, 7 positions off. It is my team, the Manly Warringah Seagulls. I had my expectations low, as most people did after last season. They finished 13th, bottom 4. And they started this season shocking with 4 losses to start. They picked up the 1 win in round 5 by 1 point over the Warriors, but then hero Tom Trbojevic, he rose from the ashes and saved the Seagulls, no doubt. They finished 16 wins and 8 losses, just 4 losses after round 4. It was a pretty remarkable effort from Tommy Turbo. We'll see if Manly can go all the way. I don't know if they have enough in the tank. Lately, they've been average, I won't lie. But hopefully they can pick up some sort of form going through the finals, and we'll see. Maybe Manly can pick it up, but yeah, very wrong on this prediction. And look, most people were. I think Manly and Raiders were, Manly was the surprise package for this season. I think the Raiders were definitely the most underwhelming. So if we swap those two around, I think we would have been definitely on the money. But yeah, look, I mean, I'll take 4th spot over no points. So Manly, hopefully they can do well in the finals. Now we move on to the top 3, and I did get this one spot on, so another 2 points as we jump to 16 points. We're doing a lot better this year than last year's predictions. Now, the Rabbitohs, again, I kind of expected them to finish in the top 3. They had a pretty solid squad for this season, and I think if they continued the late season form that they had in 2020, then they would have obviously done quite well this season, and they kind of did that. They went on a pretty solid win streak. I think it was 10 or 11 games, I'm not entirely sure, but they finished the season in 3rd, a pretty strong season for the Rabbitohs, and that top 3 is just far ahead of the rest of the competition. The Rabbitohs finishing 8 points in front of the Seagulls, who finished 1 spot below them, so shows you how far ahead those top 3 sides were compared to the rest. But will any of the teams lower than them be able to upset? Who knows? But the Rabbitohs, 3rd spot, we take the 2 points going into the top 2. We move on to the 2nd spot. It is the Panthers, and once again, I got this prediction right, so another 2 points as we jump to 18. We're doing quite well. As I said on the last one, I'm happy to be getting these points with Penrith. I mean, it's not much to say about this one. They've continued what they did from last season. A few hiccups during the Origin period. Haven't fully been able to recover from that, but who knows? Can they lift it in finals? It'll be interesting to see. But yeah, the Panthers, in my opinion, it was a pretty easy one to pick, that one. The Panthers in 2nd spot. I don't know. I expected them to drop, but not like a huge amount. Now, some people had them dropping quite a lot, so I don't know. It was kind of expected that they'd keep it up, but not, that much. So Penrith in 2nd, we get the 2 points, and we move on to the minor premiers. We finish it off with the 1st place minor premiers. It is the Melbourne Storm, and I did get this one right. So we jumped to 20 points, which is pretty good in my opinion. But the Storm, a lot of people had them dropping in their predictions due to the loss of Cameron Smith, and a few other big names. But I don't know, I didn't really see them falling off like that. I thought the Storm were, I don't know, I felt like the Storm were, I guess, not really going to drop, because Craig Bellamy, as you know, is a very good coach, and he can turn a lot of players who are struggling into stars. It's quite incredible what Craig Bellamy can do, and I think the Storm's players have definitely stood up to the occasion this season. I mean, Nico Hines is a standout for sure. Brandon Smith as well. Jerome Hughes has had a great season. They've all been doing very well. They went on a 19-game win streak, something like that. It was bizarre from the Storm. It started off not the greatest, actually, on 1 win, 2 losses. But from there, they were pretty dominant. Only the 1 loss to the Eels since round 3, which is pretty remarkable. And the Storm seem to be the team to beat going into the finals. So, yeah, we just pick up the 2 points, so can't really complain about that one. Well, there we have it. That is the review from my 2021 NRL ladder predictions made back in October, I believe, of 2020. So, I mean, from that far back, from that, far away from the season, with no knowledge of signings and whatnot, I think I did pretty well considering. 20 points out of the 32, a lot better than last season's predictions, which I think I only got like 6 points going off the same point system. So yeah, I did pretty well. If you guys want to test out this point system for your own predictions, if you made them, definitely feel free to do so. I think it's a fun little thing to see how you went. But yeah, 20 points out of a possible 32, can't complain. Pretty happy with that overall. So yeah, thank you guys for watching the video. Let me know how you guys went in your predictions, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.